Oh, okay, well that didn't go well at all. Everything's going great, guys. You're probably wondering why I'm in a different space with a mini bottle of champagne and a busted water glass. So this is where the special announcement comes in. Drum roll, please. I'm going to be performing in a show on a cruise line for the next 6 months. So season 2 of Kate the Great Beauty is going to be on a ship. Right now I'm in rehearsals, so this is the space they've put us up in. Just got here yesterday. There are no wine glasses, so guys, I'm just working with what I got, okay? The next video you see is actually going to be filmed in my cabin on the ship, which is where I will be filming the rest of my videos for the next few months. I know you guys got a kick out of my Sex in the City Get Ready With Me video, and I actually had a lot of requests to keep on doing videos that were themed to a TV series or a movie. So in honor of the fact that I'm going to be getting on a ship, I decided to do a Rose from Titanic Get Ready With Me. All right, that's enough of that. Guys, I watched it the other night just to refresh myself. Maybe not the best thing to watch before you're gonna be on a ship for 6 months. Not worried at all. I should probably mention what I'm drinking. This is the Mionetto Prosecco. P.S. I went grocery shopping at a Publix yesterday, and yet another reason why I'm pissed off about living in New York City. There was a wine aisle in that store that spanned as far as the eye could see. When you live in New York City, you literally have to go to a separate store to get everything you want. I almost broke down and cried when I saw that you could actually get your alcohol and your food all in the same store. I have nothing to offer you clothing-wise in the style of Titanic. I own nothing even remotely Victorian looking. I have no lace, I have no pearls, I have no diamond drop earrings, I have nothing. I'm giving you a robe and this head wrap, that's all you get. I mean, she wore a robe when she got nakes, right? There actually is a great Rose from Titanic tutorial on Lisa Eldridge's makeup channel. She had Tina Earnshaw, who was Kate Winslet's makeup artist on Titanic, come on and recreate the exact look she used in the movie. It's really great. I'm going to link it down below because in this video, I'm basically just going to be recapping the movie, telling you my thoughts, and doing my makeup. But I'm not necessarily going to stop and tell you about everything I'm using. I will, of course, list all of the products I've used down below. Guys, have you watched Titanic recently? I hadn't watched that movie in its entirety since I was probably 16 years old. So Titanic came out in 1997. It starred Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, Billy Zane, Frances Fisher. I remember I saw Titanic in theaters a couple of times, and then I owned the VHS, and I wore the first half of the movie out. I refused to watch the second half. It's just like way too traumatic, you know what I mean? I was talking to my boyfriend about it, and he was like, what do you mean? That's the best part. That's where all the amazing special effects are. I can't just keep reliving that pain. I want to see the good part, and then that's it. The movie was directed by James Cameron. This was a huge hit for him, giving him another reason to have the puffiest head ever. I will never forgive James Cameron for calling Kate Winslet Kate Weighs a Lot on set. Yeah, because she was so giant. Literally hate everyone. That Christmas, my parents gave me the CD. I remember ripping it open and literally crying the minute I saw the cover. Give me a doomed love story and I will just drown in a puddle of my own tears. So the story starts out in present day with Bill Paxton, who plays a treasure hunter. He has been looking for this specific piece of jewelry called the Heart of the Ocean for years. So he's down under the sea, going through the ghost ship of the Titanic, hoping he's going to stumble upon this piece of jewelry, and he's gonna be, you know, a millionaire after he finds it. So they find a locked safe, and he is sure that this necklace is gonna be in there. They pull it out of the water, all ready to be self-congratulatory. No necklace. All they find is a nude drawing of a woman. So they still broadcast it on the news, and this old woman is watching, and she realizes that, oh my God, that's me in the picture. So this is the older version of Rose, played by Gloria Stewart. The younger version is played by Kate Winslet. So she sees herself in this drawing. She's like, oh my God, it's all coming back to me now. She gets in contact with Bill Paxton somehow. She's like, I'm that woman in the picture. I gotta talk to you about it. And this is basically the vehicle to tell the story of the sinking of of the Titanic. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but also if it is, what's wrong with you? So we start to learn the story of her character, Rose DeWitt Bukater. She takes us back to when she was 17 and she's boarding the Titanic. She's engaged to this douchebag named Cal, played by Billy Zane. Just giving you all of the mustachio twirling villainy you could ever want in one character. I mean, he doesn't have a mustache, but if he did, he'd be twirling it all the time. There's lots of sneers and jeers and smirking and like one eyebrow up all the time. Admittedly, when it came out, I was equally in love with Billy Zane and Leonardo DiCaprio. Just so you know, the whole like first 10 minutes of this is just gonna be me applying foundation and concealer because they just caked that shit on back then. Meanwhile, we meet the character of Jack Dawson, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, with his super Italian friend named Fabrizio. They decide to play a game of poker and 2 tickets to the RMS Titanic are at stake. They win the tickets. Woohoo! They're super excited. They're just the luckiest swells that ever walked the planet. Are they though? Going back and watching this movie made me realize how incredibly badly written the dialogue was. Guys, go back and watch it and get back to me. I didn't know anything about that when I was 15 years old. I was just obsessed with Leo and Kate. Also, his friend Fabrizio is like over the top Italian. My name is Fabrizio and every line is said like this. Anyway, so Jack is this really down-to-earth sketch artist. He doesn't have a penny to his name. He's just living his best damn life. Rose is a very sort of snobby, aristocratic young woman, but she has dreams. She does not like her fiance, played by Billy Zane. But again, who does? It's basically a marriage arranged by her witch of a mother, played by Frances Fisher, who's just giving you evil, steely-eyed, ginger Victorian woman all the way home. Rose feels suffocated, she feels controlled, she's unhappy, she's suicidal apparently. I forgot to mention there is another kind of important character, played by Kathy Bates. Plays the unsinkable Molly Brown. I can never fully decide if Kathy Bates is fabulously brilliant or truly terrible. Sometimes she's giving you her Academy Award-winning performance in Misery, but it's always a baby's breath away from just sounding like a terribly read line from a community theater production of Our Town. Basically, Molly Brown is new money. So all these wealthy people are looking down at her. They think she's trash. She doesn't know how to act proper. And all of her lines are there to let you know that she's still simple folk. Favorite lines of hers include, "You gonna cut her meat for her too there, Cal? Why do they always have to announce dinner like a damn cavalry charge?" Okay, Kathy, we get it. You're super common. So back to Rose's story. She feels super suffocated. She impulsively decides that she is going to jump off the front of the ship one night. Jack is having a cig and he sees her madly running toward the stern of the ship. He sees what's happening. He quite literally talks her off the ledge. He tries to pull her back over the railing and she slips on her beaded dress. She's hanging onto Jack by one arm, and I mean to tell you, I cannot handle the one-arm dangle. The one-arm dangle is something I see in so many action movies, and it literally makes my palms sweat. Also, I'm like, what are the odds that this Victorian girl is going to have the arm strength to pull herself up by one arm? In those moments, I'm always like, aren't these people's hands just super sweaty and slick? She would have just slipped right into the water. But her gumption helps her get back up onto that ship. Some of the ship workers discover what's happened, and Jack is like sort of splayed over her because they've just fallen back onto the ship. Everyone assumes that he's basically raped her, which, you know, I want to say that's not a fair assumption, but probably is. She doesn't want to admit that she was trying to kill herself, so she says that she was trying to peer over the front of the ship to see she can't think of the word propeller. And all the men folk are like, ha ha ha, machinery and women, they just don't go together. And then everything's cool. Jack saved her life. Cal offers him $20 for his trouble. Rose is pissed and she's like, is that the going rate for saving the life of the woman you love? And instead of paying him money, Jack is invited to dinner with all of them the next evening. Because having a horribly stodgy dinner with a bunch of people you hate is basically the same as being paid. Leonardo DiCaprio has dinner with them the next evening. He's super charming. He wins over the entire table. Everyone's really amused by what a commoner he is. Cal and Rose's mother are pissed that everyone's so taken with Leo. After dinner, Jack slips Rose a note and is like, meet me at the clock. So she meets him and he takes her to this rad party down in Steerage. Because like, that's where all the good times happen. Almost everyone is Irish. Getting drunk, breaking tables, doing jigs. It's a whole Irish situation. Rose is having the time of her life. All of her fancy-free vibes are coming out. A beer gets spilled on her. She's super into it. but Cal has an evil henchman named Lovejoy, and he sends him to find Rose, and he spies on her during this whole third-class party situation. The next morning is not pretty. She's having this super quiet, awkward breakfast with Cal. He knows what she was up to the night before. Cal is apparently physically abusive as well because he tells her that he will not be humiliated. And he literally just swipes everything off of the dining table. Because intimidation and violence is super effective when you want someone to be more in love with you than they are. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm done with this glass. I'm drinking it straight out of the bottle. This is busted as hell. Rose also gets intimidated by her bitch of a mother. She's being strapped into her corset in a super aggressive way. Rose's father died. Apparently he left them zero money. Rose needs to marry Cal so, you know, the family can remain in good standing. Ruth is giving you all the melodrama. You want me to be a seamstress? Is that what you want? To see all our fine things sold at auction and scattered to the wind? So all of this scares Rose to death. Jack finds her and tries to convince her that, you know, she's better than this life. They're just controlling her. It's not right. He wants her to be with him. She puts on this front and is like, this is none of your concern, Jack. And she totally like blows him off. But then later on, she realizes she really screwed up and she finds him and she's like, I changed my mind. And basically, this is when the movie really gets rolling. Oh, I forgot to mention how the Heart of the Ocean plays into this. So basically, Cal has presented the Heart of the Ocean necklace to Rose as a token of his love for her. Am I the only person who thinks the Heart of the Ocean is ugly as hell? It's basically like a blue version of Lady Gaga's necklace from the Oscars, and I'm hashtag not into it. Just a giant, hideous blue triangle hanging off her neck. Just cuts off the beautiful lines of the neck, you know, like, ugh. So Rose takes Jack back to her stateroom and tells him that she wants him to draw her like one of his French girls. The scene that follows is still one of the most erotic scenes I've ever seen. How in the hell did this movie get away with being PG-13 in 1997? Sexy boobs being shown, the eyes, and he's drawing her in. Okay, I'm getting chills right now. This look is really simple because, you know, they weren't doing 7 different eyeshadows back in 1912. So kind of drawing this out for the story. But he does this sketch of her where she's all naked. She puts the sketch in the safe with the Heart of the Ocean necklace and a note that says, now you can keep us both locked in your safe, darling. Then her and Jack are like running around the ship. They have this hot ass sex scene in a vehicle parked in cargo that none of us will ever forget. Put your hands on me, Jack. Meanwhile, Cal's evil henchman is like looking all over the ship for them. I'm not sure if you know this, but the Titanic crashed into an iceberg and that's why it sank. The reason the Titanic crashes into an iceberg is because there's all this pressure on the captain of the ship from this muckety muck that he needs to make the morning papers. It would be so fabulous if they got to America a day early. Fire up all the engines, just balls to the walls, let's like just get going. So basically they're heading directly toward an iceberg. They can't turn the ship fast enough. They crash into it and most people die. I mean, that's basically the last hour and a half of the movie. That's why I always skip it. It's just depressing. It's just too much. There's too much sadness when the old people are holding each other in the bed, waiting for the water to just drown them. The mother is tucking those 2 little Irish peanuts into bed and she knows they're all just going to perish. Rose like totally gives up on Cal. He's a total asshole. And damn if Rose and Jack aren't survivors. They almost get lost underwater, but they make it back up to the surface. They swim to this giant piece of floating wood that they see in the distance. Jack hoists Rose up on top of that and tries to get on it himself, but I guess he can't, but like, I think he could have. You know what I mean? Like, I think it might have taken some finagling, but I think he could have gotten up on that piece of wood with her. They could have kept each other warm. They might have fallen off a couple times, but wasn't it worth a shot? Jack does not survive. When I saw that in theaters, I was convulsively crying so hard that I almost had to physically leave the theater because I couldn't keep sound in. I was just ugly crying. Before Jack dies of hypothermia, he tells Rose that she's going to die an old woman in her bed. She's had the necklace all this time. As an old woman, she decides to let go of the necklace, drops it into the ocean. The next thing we see is her as an old woman, sound asleep, surrounded by all of these amazing pictures of her life. Very last scene is the dream that she's having. She is entering the ghost ship Titanic. It's restored to its former glory. She sees all of the people who perished. And as she ascends the grand staircase, Jack is at the top extending his hand. I highly suggest you guys go back and watch Titanic. It was so interesting to see it as a 35-year-old instead of a 15-year-old. Still cried convulsively. Will it be depressing? Yes. Will you enjoy it as a guilty pleasure? Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. If you are enjoying my content, please do subscribe, share, and like, and click that little bell right beneath the video. That is going to alert you anytime I drop a new video. I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but I still am going to be maintaining my channel on the ship. Don't you worry. It's gonna be an adventure, but we're doing it together. If I jump, you jump, right? Okay, bye. Oh, I'm drunk.